Driving and customizing cool cars is half of the reason to be playing GTA Online, but thanks to the creeping inflation this game has, the prices for these things have gone absolutely stratospheric in recent years. Back in the day, something like the Lamborghini Führer GT would have been considered outrageously expensive with its price tag of $448,000. But now, you'd be lucky to grab a hot hatch for that amount of cash, let alone a sports car. Granted, even in a post-San Andreas Mercenaries world, there are still really nice cheap vehicles that you can buy, like the Batty 801RR, the Sentinel XS, the Shafter V12, but you know what's better? Free cars, because nothing is cheaper than free. And like HollowPoint says, if it's faux free, it's faux me, baby. And believe it or not, GTA Online has over 5 dozen free vehicles that you can grab right now if you're willing to put in some legwork first, which is why in today's video, I'll be listing out the top 25 vehicles that you can get for absolutely free in GTA Online. Some of these can be claimed for $0 right now from your phone's internet browser in-game. Others will require you to own certain businesses first as they're part of the career progression rewards. And I'll also not be including the casino podium wheel vehicle or the LS Car Meet prize rides as they keep changing every week. I'll also not be talking about the cars that can be grabbed off the streets, as this list is all about vehicles that you can actually buy for $0. So with all that said, if you're ready to save millions of dollars and permanently improve your GTA Online experience, let's dive in. To kick things off, let's talk about the vehicles that you can get as part of the Criminal Enterprise Starter Pack. This DLC is automatically included with every purchase of GTA 5's Premium Edition, and if you purchase your copy anytime after 2018, there's a high chance you'll already have it installed. And as a new player, the Criminal Enterprise Starter Pack vehicles are the easiest and most hassle-free way to grab a fast set of wheels without spending a single in-game dollar. So let's look at what's inside. First, we've got the Dune FAV, which is just an armored sand buggy and one of my favorite off-road vehicles in the entire game. Normally, this is going to cost you $1.1 million, but if you have the Criminal Enterprise Starter Pack, you can just open up the Warstock Cash and Carry website, sort by price, and select the Dune FAV for free. This is a weaponized vehicle, and while it comes with a 7.62mm machine gun in the passenger seat by default, it can also be upgraded with explosive proximity mines as well as a grenade launcher. And if you're feeling extra violent, you can even install a minigun that fires 1,200 rounds a minute. The Dune FAV handles better than you'd expect as well, with snappy and responsive steering, plus it has tons of grip and a really low center of gravity, which makes it amazing at taking corners. The next vehicle in the Criminal Enterprise Starter Pack is the Maibatsu Frogger, and this one's a Pegasus helicopter, so you can't really call it in whenever you want unless you store it in your hangar. Instead, what you'll have to do before you store it in your hangar is just ring up Pegasus on your phone, select the Frogger, and then wait for them to deliver it to the nearest airfield. The Frogger isn't amazing as a heli because it has zero offensive or defensive capabilities, and it's primarily a means of getting from point A to point B, but if you have to travel really far across the map and you don't have an agency or a Kasatka, you can call in that Frogger, as it's likely going to be faster than traveling there via road. Just make sure you're nearby a hangar or airfield when you call the Pegasus. Vehicle number 3 is the Anus Windsor, and this one can be found in the two-door section of Legendary Motorsport with a set of really funky livery options. It's based on a real-life Rolls-Royce Wraith, and it's classified as a luxury coupe in the game, so don't expect stellar acceleration or handling. However, you do get a decent top speed of about 118 miles an hour, and once this 2.8-ton behemoth manages to gather some momentum, the soft suspension is going to ensure that you'll have a really comfy ride even when you're traveling on the bumpiest of desert trails out near sandy shores. Also, the Windsor may not be the best track machine in the game, but it's an extremely underrated drifter with all that weight in the soft suspension, so try it out on some mountain roads because I think you'll be surprised at how controllable this thing is while drifting, and that's what makes it fun to drive. Now next, we've got the Obey Omnis, and this car is the polar opposite of the Windsor in every possible way. While the Windsor is a big fat Grand Tourer with lots of leathery upholstery and fancy electric seats, the Omnis is a purpose-built ultralight rally car that's designed to corner around dirt roads at speeds that would send normal cars flying headfirst into a tree. The design for this car really stands out to me as well, as it draws from several real-life rally cars like the Group B Audi Quattro, the Fiat 131 Rally, as well as the Toyota 222D. At just over 2,200 pounds, this is also one of the lightest cars in this game, and you can feel it whenever you're braking or cornering. It's almost as if the front end pulls itself into a turn, making the turn effortless even if you're going 100 plus miles an hour. It's also all-wheel drive, so that means it's going to handle just as well on dirt, sand, and grass as it does on the tarmac. Number 5, we got the Coquette Classic. There are 7 different Coquette models in the game, and this, in my opinion, is one of the cleanest looking cars of them all. Okay, maybe the Blackfin looks slightly better, but that's only because it's a convertible. Unfortunately, you can't even buy that version anymore because Rockstar removed it from the shop. So right now, the Coquette Classic is the only proper old school Corvette apart from the D1 that you can actually purchase. Now, fortunately, you can get the Classic for free if you go into the Legendary Motorsport Motorsport website on your phone, and this car is based on a second generation Corvette Stingray model, but don't be fooled by its lineage, because under the hood, it's an entirely different beast. The guys at Legendary Motorsports have tuned up the engine here, suspension, brakes, and pretty much everything else, which means this thing can set some blisteringly fast lap times. Now, not really good enough to compete with a C8 Corvette in this game, but still much faster than what you'd expect from a 60-year-old car. I'd also like to mention that the Coquette Classic has one of the sexiest rear ends of any cars in the game, so if you like looking at something nice while driving, this is definitely a car to get. Vehicle number 6 is the Grotti Turismo R, and this car has a respectable top speed of 122 miles an hour, and it used to cost $500,000 at Legendary Motorsport, but now you can grab it for free with the Criminal Enterprise Starter Pack. The Turismo R represents the very definition of a supercar, distilled down to its purest essence. From the drop-dead gorgeous looks to superb handling and acceleration, this is easily one of the best daily drivers you can get as a new player, and you should immediately purchase one if you haven't already, because it's literally free. Next up here is the Pegassi Vortex, and this should be your very first bike if you're new to the game. You're already getting a free MC Club in the Great Chaparral area, and you might as well populate its garage with this free V-Twin sport bike. And since it's based on the real-life Ducati 1199 Street Fighter, you can assume the Vortex is going to be really fast for a stock bike. And also, it has a ton of customization options both in terms of looks and performance, and you can even install an engraved frame and neon lights on your engine block if you want the extra attention. The Western Zombie Chopper is another free bike you can get with the Criminal Enterprise Starter Pack, and this one is an old school cruiser based on the Harley Davidson Fat Bob Custom series. It's not going to handle or accelerate as well as the Vortex, but it looks really cool, and it really helps with the motorcycle club roleplay if you're into that. Now for vehicles 9 and 10, we've got the Anus Huntley S as well as the Bravado Banshee. Both of these cars can be purchased for free from Legendary Motorsport, but they're two very different vehicles. The Banshee is basically a Dodge Viper, and it's easily one of the best value for money cars in the entire game, even if you don't get it for free, because once you apply the $1.8 million HSW customization options onto this thing, it hits an insanely high top speed of over 152 miles an hour. Now keep in mind that in GTA Online, speeds in excess of 130 miles an hour are rarely seen on anything but the most high-end exotics unless you go HSW, and so it's amazing to see a humble Banshee that can be turned into a speed demon with one single upgrade. The Huntley S, on the other hand, is a luxury SUV based on a concept version of the Bentley Bentayga. It weighs 2.5 tons and it tops out at 109 miles an hour once you fully upgrade the engine, so you definitely won't be setting any speed records with this one. It's also not armored like the Anus Jubilee that you get with your agency, so the Huntley S provides no function really other than transportation and looks, but it's still a cool looking car with lots of customization options, and it feels good to drive, which is why I'm going to keep it on the list. Now, before we move on to the career progress vehicles, let me quickly mention the Mammoth Dodo, which is a two-seater airplane that you can get for free on the Elitist Travel website. This is one of the slowest aircraft in the game, and it handles in the air just like a boat would in the water, but of course, it's still a plane. You get it for free, so you might as well grab one. Mind you, this is a Pegasus vehicle as well, so you'll have to request it at the nearest airfield. And here's a neat tip you may not know about. You can actually grab the $3.3 million personal helicopter for free if you own a hangar or an agency. Here's what you gotta do. Go inside your agency and exit using the Super Velito Carbon option. Then take the Super Velito to your hangar and store it there. You can even respray it if you want, but that's the extent of customization you can do to it. And the best part here is you don't lose your company helicopter either, because you can still use the Super Velito option to exit your agency even after you've already stored one in your personal hangar. I don't know if it was intended to be this way or if it's a glitch or just Rockstar doesn't care, but it's a good thing that Rockstar hasn't changed it. Now once you own the Super Velito as a personal helicopter, you can request it anywhere you want, and it's going to spawn right next to you instead of being at the nearest hangar or the airfield like with some of the Pegasus vehicles. Now let's go through a few more staples before we get to the career progress vehicles. At number 13 on this list, we've got one of my personal favorite armored vehicles, the Duke of Death. During the OG heist days, people would often use the armored Kuruma for every PvE mission, but these days I'm honestly leaning more in favor of the Duke, even though it's going to be slightly more permissive to bullets from the side compared to the Kuruma, and that's for two main reasons. First off, the Duke looks and sounds better than the Kuruma. Secondly, it does have better explosion resistance, and it can tank up to 3 RPGs while the Kuruma blows up with just 1. It can also tank 9 homing missiles or 7 explosive sniper rounds. But wait, there's more, because with an agency workshop, you can actually install Amani Tech upgrades on this free armored car and give it a missile lock-on jammer now. The Duke was already excellent before the Amani Tech upgrade, but now it might be the best overall armored car in the game because it's pretty hard to blow this thing up in a PvE scenario, and and also it costs you $0. And while we're talking about the Dukes, I would like to mention the regular Imponti Dukes as well, which is going to be available for free from Southern San Andreas Super Autos. It's not armored like the Duke of Death, but it's still a really cool looking muscle car that's a hybrid of the 1968 Pontiac GTO as well as the Dodge Charger. So if you want a cool drifting machine that can pull off wheelies and donuts with ease, grab yourself an Imponti Dukes because I guarantee you won't regret it. There are 4 more muscle cars that you can grab for free on Southern San Andreas Super Autos, and these are going to be available to everyone, and these include the DeClassy Burger Shot Stallion, the Bravado Redwood Gauntlet, the DeClassy Stallion, as well as the Vapid Pisswasser Dominator. All of these are going to perform just about in the same ballpark, except for the Pisswasser Dominator, which is going to be one of the top 3 fastest muscle cars in the entire game, alongside the Dominator FX, as well as the Arena Wars Dominator. Now, while you're in Southern San Andreas Super Autos, you can also grab the Dinka Ballista Compact, which is basically just a tiny V6 hatchback with front-wheel drive. It may not seem all that special at first, but once you climb into this thing, you'll realize why it's classified as a sports car. Even though its acceleration and top speed are kind of mediocre, the lightweight chassis and excellent suspension mean that it handles like a track machine. You can constantly drive it straight to the edge of its performance limits, and it's still going to hang there, refusing to lose control. Whether you're flicking it around corners or driving sideways through a busy intersection, the Ballista Compact is designed to provide you with a very fun driving experience. It reminds me of an AE86 Corolla, although the design is actually based on a Honda CRX, funny enough. Now, if you want Franklin's car in the game, you can get yourself a free Bravado Sprunk Buffalo from Southern San Andreas Super Autos. This one is going to be a 4-seater muscle car available to all returning players, and while it's not as fast or durable as the much more expensive and modern Buffalo STX, it's still an excellent early car for low-level players and beginners. Even in the later stages of your career, drifting around the streets in a Buffalo never ceases to be fun, as you'll have to carefully manage your throttle inputs and braking to cut corners and slide through traffic. It's a fun car to drive, and I love the engine sound it makes. Now finally, there's the Marshall, which is a monster truck that you can grab from the Warstock Cash and Carry website. It's not very practical, and you have to call Pegasus every time you wish to drive this thing, but it is worth it for the unique experience of driving over everything with a giant 13-foot tall mid-engine V8 monster truck. Now that we've got all of the truly free vehicles out of the way, let's talk about vehicles that you can get as a reward for progressing certain quest lines or businesses. These rewards are available only on the expanded and enhanced version of GTA 5, which is going to allow you to see your career progress within the game. If you're playing on PC or last-gen consoles, you can't get these rewards, which is a shame. Maybe when expanded and enhanced comes to PC this year, we'll have a chance to get these unlockable vehicles for free, but for now, they're exclusive to PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series consoles at the time of me recording this video. I won't go through all of the rewards because that would make this video quite long, but here are some of my personal favorites. First, we've got the Vapid Firebolt ASP, which is going to be one of the best trucks in the entire game, and with an HSW upgrade, it can hit 139 miles an hour, which is simply unheard of for a vehicle of this type. And here's the coolest thing about this truck. If you apply the parts hauler livery, it looks almost exactly like Paul Walker's Ford SVT Lightning from the first Fast and Furious movie. You can get this by unlocking the Tier 4 rewards for the Agents of Sabotage DLC, and the requirements for which I'll show on screen right now. You can pause the video if you want. Then, my next pick is the Grotti Turismo Classic, which you can get by hitting rep level 100 at the LS Car Meet. You'll also need to do 25 robbery contracts for the auto shop and earn $5 million by delivering customer vehicles from your auto shop business. Pick number 3 in the career progress category is the Grotti Furia, which is one of the fastest track machines in the entire game with its excellent handling and acceleration. Top speed is going to be 121 miles an hour, but it feels amazing to drive, super quick around corners, and it's just a beast when it comes to setting lap times while racing. You can get this car by doing all the Tier 4 challenges for the Diamond Casino Heist, which involves stealing all loot variations as well as accumulating a total of at least $50 million from the Diamond Casino's vault. This next one isn't technically a career challenge reward per se, but you still must do the Los Santos Drug Wars missions to get this vehicle, and unlike others, you can get this car on last-gen consoles as well as PC. And I'm of course talking about the Ocelot Virtue, which is going to be one of the fastest accelerating cars in the game. It's also one of the most durable once you install armor upgrades as well as the missile lock-on jammer, and to get this car for $0, you just have to complete all 6 first dose missions as well as all 5 last dose missions from the Drug Wars DLC. It shouldn't take you more than a couple of hours in total, and once you've done all the missions in which you go after Dr. Isaiah Friedlander, you can steal his Virtue from a parking lot and make it your very own. The Virtue is an exceptionally good all-rounder, as it's both armored as well as a good race car, and it costs nearly $3 million in the shop if you want to buy it, but you can get it for free again simply by doing these few story missions from the quest line. And the bonus reward for doing all these missions is that you'll also unlock the insanely tanky Brigade 6x6, and along with it, the Acid Lab business, which is going to be one of the best money-making methods for solo players in the entire game. Now, while we're on the topic of story content, let's also talk about the Inus Paragon R armored version, which you can get also for free by doing all casino missions. Like the Virtue, this too is available for PC as well as last-gen console players. Now for this, of course, you'll need to first own a penthouse in the casino, which can be bought for $1.5 million. But don't worry, because you'll earn back most of that money once you do all 6 casino story missions. You'll also get the free armored Paragon R at the end of the quest line, which is essentially a Bentley Continental GT with half a ton of armor plating strapped on all sides, making it highly resilient to bullet damage. The windows can still be shattered with sustained gunfire, so keep that in mind because this isn't a fully armored or bulletproof car like, say, the Duke of Death or Kuruma. However, the armored Paragon R is faster than both of those cars, and it also handles better, so if you want a mix of protection as well as speed, this is an excellent vehicle that I recommend you try to own. Now, to close things off, the final item on my list, and also one of my favorite supercars in the entire game, is the Truffati Nero Custom. If you pay attention to the design, you'll notice it looks similar to the Bugatti Chiron, and that's because the Truffati Nero Custom is inspired by the Bugatti Vision Gran Turismo, which is a single-seater concept car whose looks would later form the basis for the Bugatti Chiron's design. Now, to get this car for free, you'll need to own a vehicle warehouse and do vehicle cargo missions. Once you've made $25 million from vehicle cargo and you've completed all special vehicle works on hard difficulty, you can claim your Nero Custom for absolutely free. And there are a few vehicles that you can get as well from Arena War rewards like the Taxi, the Bulldozer, Clown Van, etc. But to be honest, those aren't really worth including in today's list because these are all about the best free vehicles out of all of them you can get in the game, and we have over 75 of them. If you want to own taxis and Clown Vans, go right ahead and grind Arena Wars out, but I don't think it's worth the time spent. Anyways, that's all I have for this video. Let me know which of these free vehicles you like the most, and if you already own all of these in your garage. Are there any free vehicles I missed that you think I should have included in today's video? I'd love to know down in the comments. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to drop a like on this video if you enjoyed, and subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, if you want to see more GTA Online content just like this in the future. Also, check out my live streams over on Twitch, twitch.tv/hazardoushdtv, or check me out over on Twitter and Instagram as well. Those are the best places to get connected with me outside of YouTube. And with that being said, I will see you guys in the next GTA 5 online video. Adios, amigos.